it down here. Hey, here we go. Good morning. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, mixed bag today. We're going to work on the Shomen Zuri for this print, which is up and running now. Sugu-san is actually printing the edition, and she's get to the point where I have no longer any choice. I've got to get going. I need to cut one more block for this print. This is the print itself. It's one of her test prints. It's close, I guess, but it's not the real thing. And she needs a front rubbing block. There's a pattern that Jed called for this area of the kimono. And instead of printing it in normal reverse shape, we're going to do it by rubbing on the front of the print, which means I need a carved wood block to go under the prints so the pattern can be embossed. So that's my job today. We've got a piece of wood for it here. The paper is out. Thank you very much for the reminder. The paper is out, 2 of them today. Ishikawa-san is working on the second print in this year's subscription series, and Dei-chan is working on, I don't remember what she's working on, perhaps some more New Year's cards. We're still digging through that endless job. And then I've got a bit of show and tell today, remind me about that. And what else have I got? I had 3 things. I don't remember. Anyway, let's get to it. I'd like to have a light table for this particular part of the job, but I don't have one here. Light box. This is, of course, a printout from Jed's Photoshop file. And again, those of you who know what's going on, I don't remember the front rubbing block. A normal wood block is carved in reverse, if that's the skin block. If that's the picture you want, you carve the shape in reverse, the print rubs like this, and bingo, you get it. This last pattern is going to be front rubbed, so we don't carve it in reverse. We're going to carve it something like this. There's the pattern. It has to go on the block here. After we carve it, we then put the paper on top of it like this and rub, and it makes a shiny impression on the wood, or on the paper. So I have to figure out how to locate this. So it's going to go on the back here. And I think I'm going to have to run away from my desk for a minute. I've got to go to the window. I need a light table, so I'm going to go and glue this up while I do it on the door. Hang on a minute, back in a second while I do this. I'll need my close-up glasses. Back in 1 minute. Okay, so the design is tacked onto the back of that sheet. We now have to locate registration marks, glue it down for carving. Where's Fridge? Fridge is upstairs. Sorry about that. I can't remember to run up and downstairs every day. Fridge is safe and sound. He's upstairs watching over the sizing bench, which is where I might be tomorrow. In fact, it's almost certain that's what's going to be happening tomorrow, another sizing stream. Well, you probably haven't seen this before. They're cutting registration marks in the middle of a face of wood like this. What we're doing, we're at the end of this process of making this print. And most of the blocks were normal blocks. The registration mark was in the corner. We laid the paper down and away we go. We're just using this last scrap of leftover wood. I've got this one impression needs to go. It's not worth wasting a whole brand new piece of wood for it. So what's going to happen is this. That's the area we're going to use. So the paper will go in here. Remember, this is a face-up impression. The paper will go here and here once the printer's working, and she'll rub this zone. This is where the pattern is going to be carved. It won't interfere with anything else on the block. So it's just a way to catch up and use the last little leftover pieces of wood. Just to confirm I'm okay. It's here, it's here, it's here. It's not interfering with anything else. Okay. No problem. So let's paste this down and get carving. Now this is not an embossing block. An embossing block is carved in exactly the same way as a normal block. The only difference with an embossing block and a normal block is we don't put pigment on it. An embossed pattern. If this pattern was supposed to be embossed, we would carve it the normal way and the paper would go on face down, the way it normally does. This is going to be different. It's going to be a front rubbing block. You get the idea here now. Once she's finished the normal printing, all the colors go on, the paper's dried. Imagine this pattern now as being cut out. Let's zoom in a bit. This hasn't been cut yet, but imagine this is finished and those black lines you see are now standing up on the wood. And the other wood is carved away out of the way. Then when the print is finished, she puts it in those registration marks and she'll rub the front surface of the print here. That's why we call it front rubbing. And the parts that hit the wood underneath are the parts that will pick up a shiny tone. Shōmenzu front rubbing. Because she wants this back. I'll give it to her when she gets here. And let's get carving. How did the recruiting go? No specific results from yesterday, just more conversation. No specific results. Just, I'll think about it, I'll see what I can do, I'll see who I can contact. But no specific results. Okay, we can zoom in, let's go. Okay, we'll just cut around the outside of the zone first. Let's go. Glue still wet. What's that thing? There's that part of the design. Yes, it is. Okay, we're on the outline. This is not thick paper, this is thin Gampi paper. Remember, the thick paper we just used as a carrier there. This is the Gampi paper again. We've printed Jed's design out onto thin Gampi paper. But I can't peel it because we're pasting it face up. Remember, we normally paste the Gampi face down, I peel it from the back. This one I've pasted face up. So it ends up being slightly thicker, but almost no difference. It's no big deal. Well, this is not one of the Cats prints. This is the numbers. It's the 17th print in the ongoing Ukiyo-e Hero series. This is the one Jed calls Two Souls Entwined. And it's something we actually issued as part of the Kickstarter campaign last autumn. Not last autumn, 2 autumns ago. It's only now coming out into the world. So we're going to leave the black parts, cut away the white parts. And the black is the part that will be shiny on the front of the finished print. It's going to take me a while here today. There's no way I'll finish this morning. I'll probably be doing this on the next couple of days' streams as well. Sugi-san's waiting for it. She is now printing the edition. Luckily for me, this is the very last block, and it comes after the paper's dried, so she can just go ahead and get her work done and finish it off. And once we're done, we can use this block. There was an interesting comment in YouTube this morning, and the last couple of days, lots and lots and lots of YouTube comments. And one of the comments this morning was about this microscope. Somebody had been watching these streams and says, Dave, please think about getting a trinaural microscope. Now this is a binaural. I'm looking at 2 eyes. But there are such things as trinaural microscopes so that I can look with 2 eyes, and we can also hook up a camera. And actually, I do have one. I bought it a while ago. It came up at an auction. And it's just sitting in the drawer waiting for me to get it all set up, to get the camera attachment and get it running. And that'll be fun for some of these streams if I have another camera running. And you can look down through the microscope to see the same thing that I see. That'd be a ton of fun. But it's just on the list of things waiting for me to do. I'm sorry. You guys are quiet today. Good, good, good. The door is shut there and the shutter is pulled down, so it's really, really cold out there these days. We've had, for the past months or so, it's been really, really warm this year. It's been a warm, unseasonably warm winter, but now, well, a week or 10 days ago, things really changed. It really, really got cold. I think it's not just us, it's Europe, it's all over the place has suddenly changed, and the winter is really, really now. So that door is shut tight, the shutter is down, there's no shoe lady sound, I'm sorry, even if she's going back and forth, if she's got the same shoes or boots or whatever. But, so sorry about that, but there's no way, it's just too cold out there. Come the spring, we'll open up the door again at this streaming time and we can enjoy the street sounds, but right now it's out of the question. And also, did I tell you about the pipes outside? We have this air conditioning heating unit here. And, this is for the first floor. The first floor has its own, everything's all separate, the first floor, second floor, third floor. So this first floor has its own quite large scale air conditioning / heating unit. It's really a big, expensive unit. It was put in long before I came to this building. And when the guy on the first floor left last year, he had originally paid to put it in, so it was sort of his stuff. So he had to be paid off in order that it would stay here. So fine, he was paid off for that. And what it is, it's got a giant ceiling unit here in this room, and then it connects through pipes and stuff to a heat exchanging unit outside. And the pipes run down the outside wall. And it's a standard air conditioner, a bundle of pipes. Some of it must be electricity, some of it's hot water, whatever runs back and forth. I don't really know the internal workings of one of these things. Anyway, it was all taped up. Actually, when we did the renovations here for the first floor shop, we checked it over, we looked at the pipe, we pulled the old packing off it, put new insulation, taped it all up, got it all set to go. We did as part of our renovation. It'd be about a week ago or so or something, I heard some sounds outside in the back alley there. I say back alley, but it's just the space between the two buildings. And it must have been, I think it was a Friday or Saturday night, and there was a bunch of yahoos out there. They had got some food or whatever from a convenience store, and they had squeezed into the space between the two buildings to get drunk and eat this stuff. I guess it was windy, they were trying to get out of the wind. So I heard the sound of these guys in the back there behind our air conditioner. And I slammed open a window and it's, what are you doing? And they buggered off and ran away. But I could see they had left some garbage behind. So the next morning, this is a week or so ago, whatever, I went out there to pick up their garbage and stuff. And it turns out that it wasn't just those guys' garbage. There have been other visitors in the back alley there. The piping system, the air conditioner pipe that I mentioned, that we had refixed and taped up and all that stuff, it was chewed all to pieces. Most of the insulation was chewed off. The tape was all gone. The pipes were exposed to the outside cold. And you can see the 2 or 3 electrical wires running up and down, and for a space of about, right from the ground up to about 2 feet or so, everything was exposed. And the curious thing was the insulation, the white insulation that had been in there, was gone. So it wasn't, I mean, it's rats, but it wasn't that the rats were just chewing it up. It's that the rats were chewing this and then stealing, if that's the word for it, stealing all the white insulation because it was gone. There was little tiny bits and scraps of it here and there on the ground where you could see, you know, the chewing and stuff had been happening. But the insulation that had been inside this taped up bundle of pipes was gone. The pipes are still there, just open to the outside. The copper pipes that go up and down inside this thing, the pipes and the wires were there. And the outside cover is gone, and all the insulation is gone. And all I can guess is this is the rats, the neighborhood rats or whatever, whether it's our rats living in this building or it's rats from somewhere nearby. They have found a source of stuff for making their nest, I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine they really understand this is insulation. Let's use it for our nest. But it was something there and they took it. So it's still out there. So Aoi Amasan's job for next Tuesday when we're closed is he's got to go get some more white plastic stuff, bundle it all up. Then we got to figure out what to do on the outside, how to tape it up. Do we tape it with metal wire or something, or what do we do to keep these rats off this thing? So, clearly it's a never-ending war with these guys. You know? Yeah, it's a Hanzo and Genji print, and the curves you're seeing here, I'll pull that back. It's not a tattoo. He has a tattoo, which will have to be printed for a bit darker once we get to it. But this pattern is not a tattoo. It's a circular pattern which will be embossed on the outside of this kimono. What you see now is a black line key block with blue color for the kimono will not be flat and bare. There will be a pattern on the kimono, and that pattern will be created by these lines. The parts you see here in black will be left over, and those are the parts that will become shiny once we rub the back of this after the print is finished. Do I have a print around to show how it looks? I know, not while I'm sitting here. Remind me at show and tell time. I've got some prints to show and tell, and I can go and get a front rub print at the same time when I show that to you. What time is it now? It's still too early. Remind me about 9 o'clock. We'll do the show and tell. Hot dog stand people, did I tell you they got a visit from City Hall the other day? It's funny, I was standing outside as this happened, and this was nothing to do with me. I wasn't the one who called, but somebody must have phoned City Hall to finally complain about what was going on there, because these guys have been eating more and more and more of the sidewalk. And what they've done now, not only have they got 5 or 6 or 7 chairs out there on the sidewalk, they have used theater curtains to rope off their entire part of the sidewalk. So people walking down the sidewalk now have to, when they get to this place, they have to step out into the road because the theater curtains block off the sidewalk in that point. And then what they had done was they had created lines. You know, here's your line to place your order, here's your line to pick it up. These are lines they've created out on the sidewalk itself with these theater curtains. And they put they got this plastic sign made up in Photoshop or something and stuck it down on the actual pavement. So when you walk along the street now on the pavement, you see there, here's the line to place your order for the hot dogs. Here's the line to pick up your order for the hot dogs. And there's 5 or 6 seats at the edge of the sidewalk where it abuts the road. So they have just simply eaten the entire sidewalk, which nobody else can now use. except at nighttime. They take it all indoors at night, but out it comes in the morning. Anyways, that's the background. So I was standing outside my place just the other day, 3 or 4 days ago. No, being the weekend, so whatever. This is Sunday, so it must have been the last Sunday, maybe a week ago. I was standing there, and a yellow and white truck comes up with flashing lights, and it parks right in front of my place. And it says on the outside, Street Inspection Patrol, and it's from City Hall. And the light, there's no siren, but the lights on top are flashing, and it's a yellow and white truck. You know, it's clearly not a police car or an ambulance. And 3 guys get out, and they look around, and they head for the hot dog place. And I just simply stand there, oh my God, this is cool, what's going to happen now? And they start taking pictures. And one guy goes inside, and the other 2 guys stand outside taking pictures. And a minute later, out comes the little lady who is, I guess, the current boss of the place. And she quickly gets down on the sidewalk there and starts ripping up these plastic signs that those guys had put on the sidewalk. That must be the one that they clearly said, this is not acceptable, to stick stuff on the sidewalk. And then she gets the stools and gathers them and takes them inside. And she rolls back the theater wrapping to about halfway across the sidewalk. So she still has taken over the first half of the sidewalk near the building, but the other half now has a place where people can squeeze by. And the guys take some more pictures and they talk to her. I can't hear what they're saying, it's a bit too far away. And they get back in the truck and drive off. So City Hall is on it. No, they haven't forced her, or they didn't at that point, to force her to totally go back inside the building. But clearly she was given the message, this is too much, back off. And I don't know where it goes from now. They will never visit again, or they're going to be on the case and visit regularly, or who knows where it's going to go. I don't know. And I wasn't the one who called them. It could be the guy who's next door, the restaurant, who's struggling to try and keep his business going. I don't know. If it was next to me, my God, I'd be all over it with the police and whatever. That's the latest episode in the hot dog war. Some of the other local merchants are, we're chatting about this, and they just sort of shrugged their shoulders, sort of nothing can be done, because they don't want to be hostile and start conflicts. And I'm not that type. I would rather, get this thing out in the open and clear it and get it fixed. There's another bit of a problem for them, and that these people that running this business, they're Korean. And one of the Japanese guys I was chatting with, one of the local street owners, he says, we can't say anything, we're going to get accused of discrimination. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't really think that's an issue. If that's the case, let me go and talk to them. I'm not a Japanese either, so. I haven't yet eaten at that hot dog place. No way I'm going to go there and buy one of those hot dogs. Not when these people are being so aggressive in this district. But one of our staff members did. I won't tell you her name, but she went down there. I guess it'd be a couple of weeks ago. She went down and tried it out. She bought one of those things and brought it back for her lunch. And I spoke to her that afternoon. How was it? She says, I couldn't finish it. I'm like, well, what's wrong? What's wrong? Too greasy. Missed one. Tight curve here. This pattern actually is a bit too small for an effective Shomenzuri, you know. When the lines are so close together, it's really not very effective. It's when they're quite a bit bolder that it's more effective. But that's what Jed's called for, so that's what we're going to do here. But it's probably going to look like a bit of a blurry, shiny. And that won't be a mess, but it won't be clear. It'll just be some kind of blurred pattern on the kimono. It's too small to be effective. Okay, that's the first section here. Now you see it's positive, negative. Jet's replaced the pattern, so let's switch to the other mode, negative mode, positive mode. Boom, 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 boom. That's Ishikawa-san coming and going upstairs. The paper is out, thank you, otherwise I'd be in trouble now. She's working on the February subscription print, and it's interesting. I led her on the wrong path here. I don't have a. Let me find an image of it. What's this? Where are we here? Let me see if I can pop up an image of this thing. Hang on a sec. '19 series. Just a moment, please. Hang on. Let me find this. Where is it? Just a second. Find the picture here, 2019 series, February print, somewhere around here. I can't find it, hang on a sec. I don't have one prepared for you, just a moment please, hang on. Here we go, just a small image here, let's see, hang on a sec. Okay. There we are. This was the mock-up. This is Jed's mock-up. It's just a small image, actually. I'm sorry, it might get pixelated. Jed 12. This is a clean Photoshop mock-up. This is the one she's printing upstairs right now. And we had real trouble with this one in the blue. We talked about this a little bit the other day. In that when you've got a color wheel with blue and red and yellow and so on the outside, and the colors mix to make greens and purples and whatever as they go towards the inside, we can mix pretty much anything on the inside at all. But on the outside, if we don't happen to have the particular pure pigment that matches the color on the outside of the color wheel, then there's nothing we can do. You can't mix out of the color wheel. You can only mix inside on this color wheel. Here's Ishikawa-san coming down the stairs. Am I in trouble? I did. I took her paper out of the fridge. She slammed the door.
バレンを貸していただけますか？
何が？
バレン。
バレン？
ないですか？
ない。
御所さんのバレンがないんで。
御所さんのバレン。うん。
ブルさんが火事になったら持って逃げるって言った。
6番でしょ
？6番じゃない。御所さんですよね。6番じゃない。13ぐらい。
僕持ってないよ。
持ってない。
ちょっと待って、ないですか？
ないです。
河合さんが使ったか他のすり石の僕触ってない。
触ってない。はい。
No idea. She can't find one of the barons. Looking at me like it's my fault. I have no idea. When she's friendly, she's friendly. And when she's not, whatever. Anyway, getting into the blue. So we've got basically 3 or 4 different kinds of blue pigment here. We've got the Prussian blue, the one that we're using, for example, for the Great Wave, those Hokusai prints, ukiyo-e, sea colors or so like that. Then we've got indigo, raw indigo blue, which is the color, you know, like my jeans. You all know what indigo looks like. And then that's about it. There's modern colors like ultramarine and stuff like that that are from the West. We've got ultramarine, which we call gunjo in Japanese. There's indigo, ai in Japanese, and there's Prussian blue, kinbero. Those are the 3 blues that we mainly use. And the blue Jed is called for on here. He's got a blue at the bottom and a different blue at the top. Now the blue at the top we can sort of do with indigo because there's a bit of a black in it. But the blue at the bottom, we couldn't mix it with any of our specific raw materials that we've got here. Because if you put a color swatch of our pigments, print it, then put it in Photoshop and click on it with the spoit, the color, to try and find what the color is. It's not on the outside of the wheel. So we've really struggled. And what she ended up doing was we took a light blue pigment, mixed some red in it, and that came very, very close to what Jed has got here. We don't use any white. The white, well, there is white in it, but that's the white paper showing through. And the white wouldn't help us here, so. Anyway, we got it close, but we were chatting about this the other day, I think, so somebody was saying what you should do is just send Jed samples of the pigments we do have, or at least send him some RGB values or something for those pigments, and ask him to stick closer to those mixes. But the half of me feels that that's really probably not Jed's job. You know, it's our job to come up with these things. But and normally in his mixed colors, in the greens and purples and whatever that he pulls out, it's no problem because we can mix a purple with any kind of blue. But what's the real trouble for us are the pure colors in his prints, the ones that are just blue by themselves or just yellow. If you don't have the raw materials, there's nothing you can do. As you can see, this is going to take time. It's going to take me a day or two to do this. That's our job. Even something that perhaps many people won't even notice in a finished print. It takes time, but whatever. This is our job. There were a few more requests for subscriptions overnight for the Journeys series, Japan Journey. And we're now at, I think it's 193. We're at 193 or so, somewhere on there. So perhaps today or tomorrow, I'm not sure when it'll happen. We're finished. We're going to cut it off. And it was switched to a waiting list system. So we're not going to limit the edition. We will make more. Of course, we'll make more. But it will have to wait until our printers can catch up. How old are these blocks? So now, I don't know exactly. Well, actually, this is different. This is not the block we were talking about yesterday. The block you saw, what I was working with yesterday, was recycled wood that we had got from a Kyoto workshop. And that's whatever, it's around as old as I am. The prints would have been made in the 1950s or 60s, and we've planed them down. We're using them again. I don't have one here. That's what we were pasting down yesterday. This is different. This is the Ukiyo Hero set of blocks that we prepared for making this print about a year ago. So the block you're seeing here, this is made on cherry wood that we ourselves have sourced here in the lumber markets here in Tokyo. So we would have made these blocks about a year and a half or 2 years ago when this project was starting up. So this is new cherry wood that we've sourced in the markets here. So I'm sorry to be confusing, but there's a real mix of stuff that comes across my desk. We've got wood that we got from Matsumura-san here in Tokyo. We've got wood like this that we sourced ourselves. And then the new blocks that you see us making right now, some of those are sourced with wood from the old Kyoto workshop. So it's a bit confusing, I'm sorry. It's case by case. Whatever, it's cherry wood, it all looks very, very similar. So. Where was I? And this particular piece is actually fairly soft. If I had the perfect choice, I would have chosen a harder piece for this because there's so many fine lines on it. But it's not really too much of a problem because we're not going to be rubbing pigment on it. It's the rubbing of the pigment that causes the most wear and tear on a set of blocks, not the rubbing of the barrel and the printing tool while we're printing it. It's pigment brushing that's the biggest wear. And this block isn't going to have any pigment brushed on it. It's just going to be a front rub block. So it's okay. It won't be so much wear and tear on it. Today is Sunday Tokyo, which means I'll be here by myself. There's no Cameron. Cameron won't be here today. He's off on Sundays always. I'm not sure. He might not be here tomorrow. Tomorrow's actually national holiday as well. It's coming of age day. So I'm not sure if he'll be here. We have lots of parties today, a full selection of parties. I know it might sound contradictory to what I said the other day. We're moving into our really quiet time. January and February are traditionally quiet for the shop here because there's not so many foreigners. Compared to the peak seasons, the cherry blossom season, the tourist autumn season, the New Year, Christmas, winter season. This is now just moving into the depths of winter, so there's not an awful lot of tourists around. But what happened to us last week is we were featured on a primetime Japanese TV program. And it showed our print workshops, the printing parties were featured on that program last week. And within minutes of the program being broadcast, there were all kinds of accesses to our Japanese website. And the print parties now are kind of full up this week with, very unusual for us, Japanese people. Our print parties are more than 90% Westerners, people visiting Japan. But because of the exposure of that TV program last week, there's a bunch of Japanese people have booked. And it's interesting, it's kind of worked out very perfectly. In the time when there's not so many foreigners here because of the off-season, the Japanese have stepped in to fill up, so it's worked out very well. The other part that makes it easier for me there too is that many of the Westerns, of course, they would really like to do a print party with me. You know, I'm on call to do those parties because YouTube fans and the people who watch the documentary and stuff, they kind of like to do this with David. But I can't do all the print parties. It's impossible for me to do all the print parties. But the Japanese people are here this week expecting a party. They're not expecting to do it with me. They're quite happy to do it with the staff. They're a bit embarrassed actually if the boss is there. So it's good. So I'm off the hook this week. The 3 staff today: Kawai-san, Koizumi-san, Nakamura-san. They will handle all the parties. I can spend my time at the bench here working on this. I guess she must have found missing Baron because she didn't come back to take it any further. Last night it was quite cold here, and all the heating in the building pretty much gets turned off once we close the shop. So I was sort of shivering upstairs, and I decided to go out to a new coffee shop. There's a new, Scandinavian coffee shop that has opened up just a couple of blocks away, 1 block away actually. It's really kind of cool. I forget the name for it. Flugen. They've got an image of a bird. I think it's a swallow. So it's a Swedish or Norwegian name for a swallow. I think it's Flugen. It's the name of this coffee shop. They've got a couple of spots. They opened in Shibuya, I think, over on the west side of Tokyo. Now they've opened one here in Asakusa. And it's kind of cool. It's super, super, super hipsterish. I mean, I'm sorry to insult if anybody's out there who might be considered a hipster, whatever. For me, whatever, I'm a hippie, so it's allowed to talk to those guys that way. It's super hipsterish. It's just so classic. So whatever, I'm over there last night, and I'm hip to a place like that. It's all right. I ordered they've got some hot cocktails. And on a night like last night, it was really, really cool. So I go to the counter. You have to, there's no waitress service, whatever. You go to a counter, you put your order in, and you take it back to your seat. If it's a normal coffee, you just sit there. They make it for you. This one, the hot cocktail I'd ordered, I guess. The guy who was going to make it wasn't there. Nobody knew what to do. Flugen, is that right? Well, what's Scandinavian about it is that the mood and furniture and stuff, and they do all-day Norwegian waffles. Fuglen, is that it? Danish. That sounds closer. Fuglen, F-U-G-L-E-N. That sounds closer. Anyway, I don't know what it is. Norwegian, Danish, Swedish, whatever. I'm sorry. But the poster advertises Norwegian waffles, all-day breakfast. Anyway, it's a kind of nice place. I'm not really being sarcastic about it. I enjoyed very much the warm environment. And what happens, I'm reading my newspaper. I told you this before. And then what happens at 10 o'clock, the guy comes around and says, "Excuse me, sir, we're going to turn the lights down a little bit." I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm reading my newspaper. And they turned them out. The lights didn't just go down, the lights went out, and there's nothing left but a candle on each table. That's it. When you go outside, after I left and was on my way home, I looked back, and the whole place is dark, and all you can see is this glimmer of the candles inside, and like, they're going to attract customers this way? I don't know. Anyway, it was fun. But the funny part about this, I get to the counter, I order this hot cocktail. No problem, it sounds really nice. It's what I wanted last night, this thing. I didn't want a cup of coffee because I had to go to sleep soon. I wanted a hot drink. Hot wine is maybe okay, but they had these hot cocktails. So I ordered one. And then the guy says, "It's going to take a few minutes. Please find a seat." So, okay, no problem. I go out, I find a seat. It was a little bit crowded, so I couldn't sit downstairs. They've got a spiral staircase in the middle that goes upstairs, in the middle of all these couches and sofas and chairs and stuff. So I make my way up the spiral staircase, and there's a little corner. Okay, there's a little seat. I sit in it all by myself. I've got my newspaper, trying to read it underneath this candlelight, but okay, no problem. And 5, 10, nearly 15 minutes goes by. I'm thinking, is that okay? Whatever. So, okay, it is okay. What happens is the guy who I placed the order with comes up the stairs. He comes up the spiral stairs, comes over to my seat, and he says, "Your drink is ready." And I look up at him, and I'm like, "Where is it?" Then he gestures, "Come with me." And I get up and we go back down the spiral staircase. We walk all the way to the counter and he points and there's my drink sitting on the counter. I look at him and I'm thinking, you walked all the way up the stairs empty-handed to tell me that my drink was ready, and you and I walked downstairs, and I'm like, whatever. I didn't say anything, just I picked it up and up the stairs I go. And I don't know if that's their mode of operation. It's okay. I'm not some rich dude sitting waiting to be served hand and foot, but give me a break. You go to a coffee shop and they say, please take a seat and wait. And then he comes all the way upstairs to your seat to tell you to go downstairs. I mean, really? Really? Maybe I can guess he's not a waiter. He's a barista. Not allowed to be a waiter. I don't know, whatever. I try not to get in a bad mood, but it took the edge of the pleasure off the place. But it was cool, very nice, very pleasant. I'm very happy to have such a place near here where I can sit in the evenings. And of course, it's totally non-smoking. So 3 cheers to the hipsters for doing this, non-smoking. I really enjoyed the place. So I'm sorry if I sound a bit sarcastic to it. I will be going back. That such a place exists 1 block from my front door here, I am very, very grateful. It was a tad expensive, but whatever. When I first came to Japan, the idea that such places could be here, just inconceivable. Absolutely inconceivable. I suppose I'm a semi-hipster myself, I guess, right? I don't know. I'm not really a hippie. I don't do that stuff. I don't smoke and stuff. Am I a hipster? I don't know. You can't recognize yourself, so maybe. You see these videos on, if you go to Reddit, there's a channel called Artisan Videos, you know, and there's sort of a classic genre in the type. The video opens with a key in a workshop door, click, click, and there's lots of Foley sound, and the workshop door opens, and you see the guy go in his boots and jeans, and he's always got a beard, and he flicks the lights on in the workshop, and he gets going on his work, and you know, it's awfully close to what I do. I've got my dirty jeans and my beard and stuff, and you know, if I made videos like that, there I'd be the classic hipster type case, I guess, you know. I don't have tattoos. Most of those guys seem to have tattoos in those videos. Bearded guy with tattoo and banging up some metal to make something, you know. I don't know. I can't see it. I'm pretty close to that standard pattern, I guess. I don't know. And the videos usually have some like acoustic guitar playing in the background. And it's kind of a classic genre. So maybe I'm just the same thing, but I can't recognize it in myself. I don't know. How's our time? Oh, 9:07. I said I had a little show and tell. My God, where does the time go? Look at this, 9:07. You've probably been reminding me, right? Yeah, somebody's been reminding me. Okay. I'm not a hipster, is what a hipster would say. Sorry about this. Okay. Okay. Let's do that show and tell. This is an interesting one. It harks back to something we saw. Zoom out a bit. Those of you who've been here off and on. A few weeks ago, was it that long ago already? A week ago, a few weeks ago, I showed you some wood blocks, carved wood blocks for some very, very small prints, printed by the Takamizawa company. And also we had that volume. Remember, we had the volume of, I got some in here, remember? We had those small postcard-sized prints that were printed by Takamizawa. And we also had some of the wood blocks that go similar nearby. Anyway, the other day on an auction, I saw another Takamizawa object going by in the auction, and I already have this particular set, so I was thinking I didn't really need this. And it would be something that would be too expensive to sell in the shop anyway. But it turned out nobody else was bidding on it. So when it got to the end of the auction, I thought, hey, look, whatever, let's get this. And it arrived yesterday. Well, I wasn't here. It arrived yesterday. Postal packet. And what this is, let's have a look. 53 Stages of Tokaido by Ando Hiroshige, miniature edition. And this is published by the Takamizawa company. And I've got this set already. I've got one at home. So I wasn't so interested in bidding on this. And it also was a little bit damaged. The auction said the cover is broken. I don't see that it's broken, but the auction said be careful, the cover is broken. But anyway, let's have this open and see what we've got inside here. Oh, there it is. Oh. The cover is broken. Who cares? Big deal. I don't know if you've, okay, the 53 Stages of the Tokaido, the real prints are about this big. They were published in, I don't know, 1860s, 70s, 80s, I can't remember, 1860s, kind of. It's a set of 55 prints of the Tokaido scenery, published in large Japanese format. And they're insanely popular. I know, when you speak of Japanese ukiyo prints, this is the classic thing. It's the most singular. 1832, that early. Okay, I stand corrected. What do I know about that? It's the single most classic, well no, the Great Wave is the most classic, iconic one, but Hokusai's Fuji series and Hiroshige's Tokaido Travel series are the two giant classic, iconic Japanese print sets. And they've been reproduced endlessly down the years. A set like this is made by the Takamizawa company. They've made a full set of this thing in miniature size. And the fact that the labeling and stuff is done in English makes me think that they were pointing this at foreigners. Oh, the cover is broken. It's okay, no big deal. So this will be post-war. This will be well, I should be careful. It could be pre-war, because there was a lot of tourism in Japan through the 1930s before, you know what went on to spoil it. And there was GIs and stuff were back in the 1950s. So without having inspected this a bit more carefully, I'm thinking this is not that old. I'm thinking this is 1950s. But let's see. Let's have a look. Let's get the cover out of the way. It's going to be a disrupting. And as I said, I've got one of these books at home, and it's an accordion. What they've done is the whole thing is done in one single bound together accordion folder. And they have reproduced, ooh, nice silver colored paper. Actually, that looks like it's real silver. It's gone black. Look at that. I believe that is silver tinted paper, and it's gone oxidized. Interesting. And here we have the list. It's the original reproduction of the original table of contents in Japanese, all the place names, and they have translated them into English. So this must have been aimed at the tourist market back then. And here we are. And these are woodblock prints published by the Takamizawa company. And there's 55 of them in this set, and they are tastefully done. They're real woodblock prints. Let's see how close we can zoom. Can we get in any closer? Which way do we need to go? This way. Here we go. And when we get in this close, you can see the carving here. These faces and stuff compared to the real edition have been, stylized. I mean, look at my fingernail here. We have how many people's faces carved within the space of one fingernail? It's a woodblock print, guys. It's a woodblock print. Now the key block on this, I got to get it under the microscope because I suspect the key block for this could be done with metal blocks. What they could have done was they could have drawn this thing and then reduced it in size under a camera and prepared a metal key block. The color blocks absolutely are woodblock printed. You can see the rubbing on the back. It's a normal woodblock print. But without getting into the scope here, I really can't quite tell. The key blocks could be carved or... And the detail. Here's the next print. Now look at this, gradations in the sky, the Ichimoji Bokashi, the Bokashi at the top, which is done what they call Ichimoji, the letter 1. In Japan, the letter 1, the number 1 is a horizontal stripe. So this kind of Bokashi gradation is called Ichimoji Bokashi, gradation in the shape of the character 1. Let's zoom out a little bit, we're a bit too close to see these things. And they have really gone for it. They have made a reproduction of these things, and basically every line and every dot has been reproduced, even small scale it is. And they're all lightly tipped in. They're glued in at the top on these accordion fold papers. And we've got English names going on with this. And it's the whole Tokaido. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is Kawasaki. This is part of Tokyo nowadays, of course. And starting from Kawasaki, we can see Mount Fuji already. Kanagawa, this is the Kanagawa in part of Tokyo, near Tokyo. Kodogai, this is in Yokohama City now. So these first stations are all just part of the urban area now. And it looks like they've done these very, very nicely. This is not even simplified in terms of number of colors. It's part of Tokyo. I mean, it's part of the urban big mix. I know it's Yokohama, whatever. And here's now we get out of town. This next one, Totsuka, and this next one, Fujisawa, are where we actually get out of town. But this is cool. The way it works, let me zoom out a bit more to show you what happens here, the structure of the book. It's on an accordion fold. I showed you like this, one by one by one. But if you notice, on the back of these, there's stuff on the back. And the way it works is this. You get through the book, you keep going page by page by page by page, print by print by print, famous ones, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other, until you get about halfway. And what happens is, this must be about halfway, we turn the page, we've got more of our silver leaf paper, we flip it over, we flip it over, we flip it over again, and we are now on the back side of the book, coming through on the back side of what we just looked at. Because these prints, as I said, they're mounted on this thing on both sides. So we keep going. Look at this, they're all in beautiful condition. Such nice work, nice gradations. I tell you, some of the postcard versions of this series are just grotesque. These guys have done a beautiful job with this. And again, just to structure the book, you go through flip, 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 and we eventually arrive at Kyoto, the end of the book. And there you go, the colophon, and out you go. And you're back to the beginning, and of course, we can start all over again at the beginning. So it's a cool idea. It's one accordion full book. And the other bonus of it being built this way is it's not bound at the spine. So what you can actually do is you can actually open this thing up. Let's do this without dropping. You can open this thing up, and if you've got a long enough space in your room, you can show half of it and half of it. I could put these on a stand in the middle of the room and show the full set. Very, very nicely done. Very nice. Oh, what's happening here? Staff. Okay. Anyway, very nice object. Now, I've got 2 of these sets. So what I'm going to do, I guess, is we'll have a look at them. And I'm going to be extremely selfish here. I'm going to keep the best one for myself. And then sometime next week or so, we're going to have Cameron to put the other one somewhere in the flea market. And I had to pay for this. It wasn't cheap because, it was cheaper than I expected because nobody else bid for it, but it was still expensive. The start price was no joke. It's 55 handmade, hand-carved, hand-printed woodblock prints. You know. But we'll tell Cameron to see if he can put this on the flea market. I'm not quite sure how much it'll be. My God, if we had these prints individually, our own Hunger Club prints here, postcard-sized prints, printed very nicely, they're 3,000 yen each, about $25 each. And this is a package of 55 of them. But you can't just do the multiplication, it doesn't make sense. That's not the value of this thing. But this is a nicely printed set. Oh, beautiful. This is a real place. It's an advertising. One of the places on the Tokaido. This is a nice set, you know. I haven't had much of a chance to see it, but this is a nicely done set. This might be the one we keep. Who knows? Oh, this one's fun. This picture is fun. This is one of those places where there was no bridges. The government at that time avoided building bridges across rivers. I know the thing we're told when we read the history books now is the government was paranoid about groups, samurai groups, and different people in different parts of the domain challenging their government. You know, sending an army to march on Tokyo. This is back through the 1700s and early 1800s. Good morning. So the government made it difficult for access. They didn't put bridges across these rivers. They left it so that armies couldn't actually march on Tokyo. So here we go. We have a scene of one of these river crossings. I'm looking. You see what's going on here? It looks like these two little dudes are playing sumo or something, because they've got they're almost naked. They got their wrapping on their body, and it looks like they're playing sumo. And no, what they're doing is they're preparing to pick up a customer. When you're a customer coming to the river crossing, these guys are all standing there waiting to cross the river. And if you've got tons of money, you hire yourself the box, the kago. Here's one. Look at this. This is a team of men. It's like a dozen men carrying this. You're in your box. You're hoisted high above the water. You ride in style. You don't get wet at all. That's for the guy who's got tons of money. If you have not quite so much money as that, you get only 6 guys to carry your box. And maybe it'll dip a little bit. You could perhaps get your panties wet, but whatever, you're still privately in a box. If you've got a little bit less money than that, here you go. You've got 4 guys to carry you, the bamboo poles. You might get a bit wetter than the other guy did, but anyway, you're across the river safely. If you don't have a whole lot of money at all, here you go. One guy's going to crouch down, you sit on his shoulders, up he stands, and one guy is going to carry you across the river on his back. He slips on a stone, down you go. pay your money, and you take your chances. So just in this one picture, we have a cool wrap-up of a number of the different ways to cross this river. It's too bad there's no price tag. How much did it cost level A, level B, level C, and level D? And that's what these two guys, they're not sumo wrestlers, they're people getting their customer ready onto their shoulders. There's so many little aspects of life on this Tokaido road, you know. Hiroshige, the guy who did these designs, he's dead broke. He's a designer, he's an artist, he's nothing in society. In the ranking, he's at the bottom below the farmers, you know, whatever, below the merchants. So he knew how this worked, you know, he knew how this worked. Anyway, there we go, a nice book of prints, very, very nice. It's like, I think that really is silver. It's either silver leaf applied on this end paper. It has the exact appearance of silver that's oxidized over a number of years. So very nice little production. Very nice to have got this. As I said, it's not going to go in the flea market tomorrow. We'll have a look at the different sets we've got. And there's no way we're going to break this up. Cut this. We could earn much more revenue by chopping this up, selling these prints for $30 each. There's 55 of them. That's $1,500 or so? But there's no way I'm going to destroy this thing. No way. It's an absolute treasure. But it's a bit of a paradox. We can't sell it for $1,500. It's not worth that much at all. And yet, there it is. Beautiful, beautiful object. it's already warping, eh? It's interesting. It's been in somebody's house, perhaps quite damp. You saw it as in a plastic case. I've opened it up here now. We have quite a dry environment here. The heater is on, and already now this thing is starting to warp. It's no big deal. In a normal environment, you would just put it on your bookshelf and it would expand and dry out as the seasons go on. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Tiny thing wrong with the whole set is the board here has parted. So no problem. We'll get some washi paper and glue it on and put it back together. I guess I didn't need to open the strings to open it because it was stored. There we go. A nice little show and tell. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, what time is it? It's 9:23. I guess it's time for me to move on, get into the shop, you know. Where's the work I was doing? I can't finish this now. In fact, this job will be with us for the next few days. Obviously, you can see the time it's going to take me to carve all these small circles in and around this thing. So today's Sunday. Tomorrow will be Monday here. I will be here. I do have to do some sizing before the middle of next week because the printers are getting close to the end of their jobs. So tomorrow's work might be a sizing stream upstairs with fridge overlooking the workspace. Or I might be here carving this one. Or I might be starting even the next project, which we're cooking up and coming. So I'm not sure what it'll be tomorrow. It'll be one or the other, carving here or sizing upstairs. And then the day after tomorrow, Tuesday, I will not be here. In fact, I think I might be up in Nagano. There's a special trip I've got to make. Me and Cameron might rent a car and head up to the mountains in Nagano. We'll take a camera with us, and who we see and what we see up there might make a nice little Facebook or blog post once we're there. Where can we see the flea market? The flea market is there. It's linked from every single page on the website. Let me quickly pop a link into you here. Hang on a sec. Where are we here? Mokuhankan. If I just go to any catalog page, here's a typical catalog page. This is not the flea market, but if you look at the bottom of the page where this is, you will see a link to the flea market. So from all of our catalog pages, the flea market is linked in. And there's news on that too. Starting tomorrow, we talked about staff and stuff here, and yesterday's staff discussions didn't go anywhere. But starting tomorrow, there's a young lady who's going to be coming here 2 days a week, and her job is going to be scanning flea market prints and uploading them to the flea market, so online flea market. So starting next week, the number of prints inside the flea market is going to start to expand exponentially. So stand by for a great increase in stuff on the website. Okay, I gotta get out of here. Thank you very much, guys, for showing what's going on here. I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same station. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Thank you. Out. Stop stream. Thanks again, guys. Bye. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.